Assalamualaikum and good morning, students. Welcome back to BQS 601, Measurement of Construction Works. And this week, we'll be focusing on the sewerage works. So, under this topic, we'll be focusing on based on the drawing that been provided to you in the Google Classroom. And also I really hope that all of you are ready with your standard method of measurements, your schedules, and necessary things that you need for your taking off. Okay, for this week, the first is the lecture contains, and these are the things that we are going to focus in this class. First, we'll be looking at the soil description, trench excavation, pipe works, manhole, connection to main sewer, testing, and sewerage system. So the first one, just like what we have learned last week, we'll be looking at the soil description and services information. So again, let me remind you why we need to have this item as part of your sewerage taking off and bills of quantity, because you need to let the contractor knows that the current situation and the condition on the site, so that the contractor that will price your bills of quantity will be ready with necessary costs and additional works incurred to that. So among the things that you can describe under this general information, if you look at section V of your SMM, which is V.1 information, is the groundwater level, tidal effect, trial holes, and existing services. Okay. As mentioned last week, this is an example how you are going to write this V.1 generally information on the current situation of your site. Okay, you're going to have this description. For example, groundwater, when it was established, at what level, and the date the reading is being taken, whether it is designated as the pre or post contract level. Okay, boreholes, and also for example, here we have telephone wire cross over the site at height of 15 meter, which means you are telling them that there is a disturbance on site that they need to be careful or extra careful when they are doing their works. This is how you are going to enter these items in your bills of quantities, where the description here will be the heading, and then this itemized item will be the item in your BQ, and you're going to put your unit here, okay, and the quantity here if you have any for this. Okay, if you have a work beyond the site boundary, this has been described clearly in V.1. It has to be described as an item. And if there are any restriction regarding access, it should also be highlighted. For example, here we have restriction beyond boundary of a site, access restricted by 10 m wide and 6 mm deep precast concrete monsoon drain, so that when the contractor reads your PQ, they truly understand that there is a boundary access restricted. So which means that they need to get necessary permission from local authorities, or enter into somebody's land to avoid issue like trespassing or additional costs that might incur due to that. Okay, this is how you are going to describe in your bills of quantity. This will be the subheading and the item. So if it's in meter, you should state it in meter, but if it's unit, it should be in unit, or depends on the nature of work that you are going to describe, that is located beyond the site boundary. So now let's look at excavating trenches for drain pipes. Okay, what's the difference between these sewerage drain pipes and the drain that we excavated last week, which is a surface water drain? So the excavating trenches for drain, sewerage for drain, basically you're gonna have your drain excavation here. This is a ground level. Okay, and what makes it different is that this time we are not using the surface water channel, but we are using the sewerage pipes. Okay, so you're going to bury these pipes later. Okay, so excavating trench for pipe, it require the works of laying pipes as mentioned to you and excavating the trench. This is how it looks like. Okay, you have your trench here, excavation, and you have your pipes. Okay, here. And this is the ground level. Okay, for filling excavation material, normally they are using sand or excavated material, or sometimes in certain situation where they're gonna have a very heavy load up here, they are going to use the concrete as the coverage, what we call as a covering for the pipes, as the sewerage pipes. Okay, excavating trenches for drain, okay, it should be referred to section V.2 as well, but this time it will be referring to V.2.1 and V.2.3, where excavation need to be conducted in linear meter. Okay, and you need to describe the starting level, whether it's a formation level, ground level, or so on. And then you need to have a depth range, and also you need to mention the average depth. Okay, what's the difference between depth range and average depth is that, so for the size of drain, okay, you can look at the section V.2.3. It says that trenches to receive pipes not exceeding 200 mm nominal size may be grouped together. So if you are using trenches that is the pipes that is not exceeding exceeding 200, it must be separated in a different description. For instance, here we have like 100, 110 and 155, so it should be grouped together under 200. And if you have 200 nominal size and 250, it should be described in its own description. Okay, so next one. Okay, this is the depth range and average depth concept. So you have to understand this in order for you to do a correct way in doing excavation for the sewerage works. As I mentioned, all of laying of the pipes, it cannot be flat on the surfaces. It should have a little bit of depth range different between inlet and outlet. From manhole 1, this is what we call as an inlet, and manhole 2 this is what we call as outlet. So the depth range from here is 0.9 and the outlet is 2.9. So if you look at your SMM, it mentioned that it must follow the depth increment of 2 meter. So which means between 0.9 to 2.9 there will be 2 meter in between. So this is what we call as a first depth range, and this is what we call as a second depth range. So it has to be separated into 2 description or 2 items. It cannot be combined together. So your description will be excavation not exceeding 2 meter, and the second description will be excavation more than 2 meter and less than 4 meter, or not exceeding 4 meter. So it should be separated in your description. So average is 250. Okay, so within this, for example, here we have not exceeding 2 meter, and then which means we have like six number of average depth of 250 mm. So this is how you're going to describe your trenches for drain for pipe size 110 mm diameter, 250 mm diameter. Okay, I think that's all for part 1. So I'll see you guys in part 2 of this video. Till then, Assalamualaikum and have a great day everyone.